The moment I saw Margaret Ellison striding across my front lawn in her signature navy skirt suit, clipboard in hand, I knew my Saturday morning calm was about to shatter. As president of the Willow Grove Homeowners Association for the past 8 years, Margaret, or Karen as most residents privately called her, had a knack for inventing violations where none existed. I sighed, setting my coffee mug on the porch railing, bracing for whatever petty infraction she'd conjured this time. "Mr. Carter," she called, her voice dripping with that fake sweetness that never reached her eyes. "We need to address your ongoing noncompliance with community standards." I suppressed an eye roll. After 15 years as a firefighter, I'd built a tolerance for high-stress situations, but this woman tested my patience like nothing else. "Good morning, Margaret. What's the issue today?" "My grass is exactly 3.5 inches per Section 7 of the bylaws." A hint of sarcasm slipped into my tone. She pursed her lips, irked that I knew the rules as well as she did. "This isn't about your lawn, though I'll measure it later. It's the visual disturbance your son is causing in the neighborhood." My body froze. "Excuse me, what did you say about my son?" Margaret straightened, fueled by my reaction. Section 12, Paragraph 4 states residents must maintain appearances that don't detract from neighborhood aesthetics or property values. Your son's condition is unsettling several neighbors when he plays outside. Blood rushed to my face as her words sank in. My 10-year-old son, Ethan, had survived a house fire 3 years ago that took his mother's life. The burns on the right side of his face and arm remained visible despite multiple surgeries. He'd fought hard to rebuild his confidence, to feel at ease playing outside again. "Are you seriously standing on my property saying my son's burn scars violate your aesthetic standards?" My voice was low, dangerous. She glanced at her clipboard, unfazed. "I'm enforcing the rules we all agreed to when buying homes here. Perhaps he could wear long sleeves and a face covering outdoors. Or better yet, use your backyard where he's not visible from the street." I took a deep breath, counting to 10. "Margaret, listen carefully. My son is not a visual disturbance. He's a brave, resilient child who survived trauma. If you approach him or me about this again, I'll file a formal complaint for harassment and discrimination." Her face reddened. "Are you threatening me, Mr. Carter? As head of the HOA, I can issue fines and place liens on non-compliant properties." She tapped her pen sharply on her clipboard. "You have 48 hours to address this, or I'll call a special board meeting." As she turned to leave, I caught movement at our front window. Ethan stood there, his small face etched with confusion and pain. My heart sank. He'd overheard Margaret's cruel words. Number 10-year-old should be called a visual disturbance. For the next week, Margaret intensified her campaign. A formal notice appeared taped to our door, citing obscure bylaw violations. She started photographing Ethan whenever he played in the front yard, pointing and whispering to neighbors while glancing our way. Each incident fueled my anger, but I stayed methodical. What Margaret didn't know was that I'd installed a high-definition Dashcam in my truck after an accident last year. It captured a wide-angle view of my driveway and front yard, with clear audio. It recorded every interaction, including her initial confrontation about Ethan. I'd also begun documenting every incident, logging dates, times, and witnesses. The breaking point came on a warm Sunday afternoon. Ethan and I were washing my truck in the driveway, a ritual he loved. He was laughing as I lightly sprayed him with the hose, just a carefree kid for a moment. Then Margaret's voice sliced through his joy like a blade. "This is exactly what I mean," she shouted, storming up our driveway with 2 HOA board members in tow. "Not only is he fully visible, but you're drawing attention to him with this display." Ethan shrank behind me, water dripping from his clothes, his fleeting happiness gone. Something in me snapped. I'd been patient, professional, but this crossed every line. "Ethan, go inside and dry off, buddy," I said softly, handing him a towel. Once he was safe indoors, I faced Margaret and her group. "This ends now," I said firmly. You're harassing a child because of his physical appearance from an injury. That's not just wrong, it's illegal. Margaret scoffed, looking to her companions for support. Don't be dramatic. We're enforcing community standards you agreed to when you moved here. Perhaps Willow Grove isn't the right neighborhood for you. Let me be clear, I replied, keeping my voice steady despite my fury. What you're doing violates the Americans with Disabilities Act and the Fair Housing Act. Burn scars are considered a disability under federal law. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Margaret's face, but she rallied. That's absurd. He's not disabled, he's just unsightly, and that's covered by our aesthetic guidelines. I couldn't believe her words. Did you just call my 10-year-old son unsightly? On my property with witnesses. One board member, Stephen, a newer resident, looked uneasy. Margaret, maybe we should discuss this at the next meeting. No, she snapped. I'm handling this now. Mr. Carter, the HOA is issuing a $500 fine for violating Section 12. Until this is resolved, your son is banned from the front yard, community pool, and park. I smiled, catching her off guard. Actually, Margaret, I'm glad you brought witnesses. You've saved me some effort. I pulled a formal envelope from my pocket. This is a cease and desist letter from my attorney regarding your pattern of harassment and discrimination. Everything's documented, including today's visit, which my Dashcam is recording right now. Her eyes darted to my truck, where the camera's light blinked steadily. Her face paled. You can't record me without permission, she stammered. In this state, only one party needs to consent, and I consent. The camera captured everything, from you calling Ethan a visual disturbance to today's unsightly remark. My attorney finds it compelling. Stephen and the other board member stepped back from Margaret. I've heard enough, Stephen said quietly. Margaret, I didn't know the details of these complaints. This isn't what I signed up for. Margaret's composure unraveled. You can't do this. I'm enforcing rules everyone agreed to. The rules don't permit discrimination, I said calmly. Now leave my property. Further communication goes through my attorney. Instead of leaving, Margaret shocked me by marching toward my front door, declaring she needed to inspect for other violations since she was here. When I blocked her path, she tried to shove past. Move. As HOA president, I have the right to inspect. You have no such right, I stated firmly. This is private property, and you're trespassing. Leave, or I'll call the police. Go ahead, she challenged, her voice shrill. They'll back me once I explain your violations. I dialed 911, holding her gaze. When the dispatcher answered, I explained calmly, I have a woman trespassing on my property, refusing to leave, harassing my son over his burn scars. She's aggressive and trying to enter my home without permission. Margaret's defiance turned to disbelief. The police arrived quickly, and to my surprise, one officer was Mike Larson, a colleague from past emergency calls. James, he greeted professionally, then assessed the situation. Before I could speak, Margaret launched into a rant about HOA authority and standards. Mike listened for 30 seconds, then raised a hand. Ma'am, HOA rules don't give you the right to enter someone's home without permission. What else is going on? I explained the harassment of Ethan over his appearance, mentioning my video evidence. Mike's expression hardened. Mr. Carter, do you want to press charges for harassment and attempted trespassing? Margaret's jaw dropped. Charges? This is ridiculous. I'm enforcing legitimate rules. Ma'am, Mike said firmly, discriminating based on physical differences isn't legitimate, it's illegal. What followed was almost comical if not so serious. Margaret, still believing she was right, tried to push past Mike to reach my door, shouting about documenting violations. Mike calmly pulled out handcuffs. Ma'am, you're under arrest for attempted breaking and entering, trespassing after warning, and disorderly conduct. As he read her rights, Margaret's shock was unforgettable, her protests, "You can't do this. Do you know who I am?" echoing as the board members stood stunned. The consequences hit Margaret fast. The district attorney added charges of harassment and attempted coercion after reviewing my dashcam footage. At her arraignment, she faced a $5,000 fine, 200 hours of community service, and 1 year of probation. The judge issued a restraining order barring her from approaching within 100 feet of Ethan or our home. 3 days later, an emergency HOA meeting unanimously voted to oust Margaret as president. As security escorted her from the room, her face a mix of disbelief and rage, I felt a twinge of pity, almost. Willow Grove adopted new anti-discrimination policies, and Ethan played freely in our front yard again, his laughter louder than ever. Margaret moved away quietly, her influence gone, while our home became a symbol of standing firm against prejudice, ensuring no one would dare target Ethan again.